Alhamdulillah sihat doktor.
Hopefully you tak terkejut lah ya, bukan Dr. Emma. Kalau siapa yang tak baca message tu. So Dr. Emma will be taking the session on at 11 a.m. today. Right? So for today, we will look at some steps on how to draft your article. But before we start, I did see Zul tadi Zul ada paste Webex link. Ada yang dah lupa link ke?
Tak doktor. Mungkin dia nak mudahkan orang terus masuk kot.
Sebablah ada yang lupa link kan, sebab I tengok attendance semula lama juga kita tak jumpa. Last week actually I went to Medan urusan kerja, and a week before that you were given a task to listen to a recorded video kan untuk lecture. And talking about recording lecture and also webinar, the poster that I sent to you, I can see siapa ni? I can see Nur Adli did attend the sessions. I think you did attend all the 3 sessions so far. And then Iqbal, you did attend the session yesterday. So did you get anything related to your proposed topic, Iqbal, for the from the last or yesterday's session?
Yes, I get like quite a lot which help my what I'm going to do.
So do you know about do you know what process mining is before this?
Not to that extent actually, because before this I just know how to like the data being processed and so on.
So before you attend the session, actually, what is your intention? What method do you plan to do to analyze the log? I can see that your progress report, okay, the progress table is about log, something to do with log. So what do you plan to do before you attend the session? I mean, what method do you plan to look at?
Before this the plan is like I just retrieve the log and put into like one software to collect all the logs, and then I just do manual dashboard based on the data that have been fed to the software.
The software used for the one that you have, or the one that you used before, is it the same as the software that the speakers show yesterday?
Different software actually.
Yeah, is a lot. I think it's something that is different from what you used to do or what you used to know, especially when you are a 255 student and also you are a networking student. So yesterday was about process mining, and in the morning session it was about data mining. So even though it is not, maybe it is not directly related to what you would like to do next semester, but I believe that those things are some good alternative that you can try on, especially when you are dealing with data, when you are talking about security, forensic and all. So they are a good session, good webinars, especially if we would like to know, we have only like a beginners, right? So those are the things that you should listen to. However, for those who can't attend the webinar sessions, I haven't got the recording for yesterday's morning and evening session. Once I have it, I will share with you, and do listen to it. And there are sets of questions that you need to answer, and that will be part of your assessment. Okay. So that is about webinars. And the other thing is about your progress so far. So some of you did text me, inform me that you did not get any comments on your progress too, right? So basically before the break, the comments that I gave is on Mendeley. We look at Mendeley, and I do comment on that, but I do not comment actually on progress two. But I have looked at some of your progress two table. Again, there are improvements. I can see more readings done, and there are some of you did produce quite a complete table. It's just that it seems that the content of the table is not synchronized yet. So maybe you have to revise and look at it again. However, there are also some people who still have very limited number of papers read in like five. You are you are focusing on that five, even though progress one is for you to complete a column until issues and challenges, and seven is for methodology. It doesn't mean that you only need to complete read five and complete a table until issues and challenges up to week seven, still using the same five references for methodology. You need to keep on adding to the articles, related articles. You keep reading and add on a number of articles that is needed for your uh, articles later, your own article later. So also one message from your friend saying that this week you will be drafting a thesis. So again, you are not going to produce any thesis for ITT795 for this semester. And I believe you won't do that even for next semester. You will only be doing it in the following semester, right? So we only will try to produce an article, but that article hopefully will be the base for your thesis for next two semesters. Okay, because we try to capture related information starting from now. So the end output is not a thesis, it is an article. All right, when we talk about article, towards the end, when you start finalizing your draft, we will be taking a template from a journal to draft your article even better. But now we are in the process of collecting the information and draft the frame of your article. So today, actually, I believe that I have go through what I want to go through today. But because this is the process of starting to draft your article, I believe that it's good for us to look at it again and together try to figure out what actually you need to do in drafting your article. Okay. All right. Let me check yang lain tutup. So before you can start, okay, before you can draft your article, we need to go and confirm on certain things first. Okay, you can't simply open Mendeley and then draft your article just like that. It need to be planned. And so to plan it, there are several processes that you need to go through first. So like I mentioned just now, it might be some of it is like repetitive. I have mentioned about it before, but please take notes on these points again, and because after this you will start doing it, maybe until next week. So the outline of today's session is to look at the checklist and then to look again on the literature reviews and determine sections and subsections, sorting the literature reviews and group and create folders and subfolders. So these are the outline for today. So in terms of the checklist, okay, so you may want to ask yourself first, what is the title of my proposed research, or what is the title of my article? So at this point, it is necessary for you to have a title. So even though you may change the title at the end of this semester towards the final submission for ITT795, but at this point, you should already have a kind of title um, that almost confirmed. Okay, because if you don't have a title, then you have identify what are the objectives of your paper. So in the paper, in the article, you would like to share with people, share with the readers on state of the art of certain issues or state of the art of certain techniques, or you would like to share with people your article content. Maybe the aim or the objective is to look at recent adoption of AI in cybersecurity or digital forensic, or you have an objective to look further on certain areas of application. Okay, let's say you are interested in looking at military areas, whether that technique is applicable in most of military applications, then that would be an example of objective that you may have. So title, and then you know what you want to look and what you want to share with your readers. And the third one is the story. Okay, to check now, by now, do you know what is the story of the article? So we mentioned earlier, much earlier in our earlier session about story. So writing an article or writing a journal is actually um, like telling a story. Okay. So you want to share something, you want people to know about something, then what are the information that you need to provide to your readers in the form of story so that at the end they can understand your story. So the story here, have you dropped the flow of the story? So you may want to start with a general, a broader uh, area of broader issues. And among that broader issue, you may tell people, tell the readers, I will concentrate on uh, one or two issues. And in these two issues, what are the main problems? And for these two main problems, what are the techniques that people have done to solve that problem? And what are the limitation of the solution provided by author A, author B, author C? And because of that limitation, your proposal will be covered on that aspect, maybe not all, but certain aspects or certain problems that are still there, right? And you may want to elaborate the story. Okay, I propose to do this, and I figure out these are the steps that I should do. And then you tell again your audience or your readers, um, based on this step, um, you can conclude it would be possible, or this is the guideline that you would like to propose. So it's kind of a story from the beginning to the end, but by thinking that the audience or the readers of your article is someone that may not have any idea at all on the domain that you would like to share. All right. So you start with a broader issue, and then it will narrow down to the end until the finding of your story. So have you done that? So you need to draft first before you need to sketch first the flow before you can put it in a draft, in a written draft. All right. Um, in the process of this creating the story or flow,
Doktor cakap apa ke? Tak dengar doktor.
Ah, tak dengar? Semua tak dengar ke?
Baru dengar balik. Baru
Baru
dengar balik.
dengar.
Oh,
Oh,
baru dengar.
dari tadi tak dengar ke?
We lost you for a minute, I think.
Sempat tak dengar.
Oh, ya ke? For 1 minute then. Okay, now you. Mm-mm. Alright, thank you. So hopefully yang mana you tak dengar tu sikit je lah ya. So I was telling about number 3, checklist number 3, the story, which is the flow. Okay, before you can write it down, before you can draft an article, you need to know what story you want to tell to your audience or reader. So it normally will start from a bigger picture and then it will narrow down to the part that you want to focus on. Right. So in a domain or in for a problem in a domain, normally there are a wide thing to covers. If you are looking at the issues itself, there are a lot of issues there. If you are looking at the technique, there are a lot of techniques. So do you need to cover all? No, you don't. But you need to tell the biggest story, and out of this big story, which part is the story of yours, right? And then you will bring the audience from the starting to the end to the finding of your story. Okay, so you need to have that um, flow of story first. And number 4 is structure. So have you identified the paper's main structure? So we talk about story and then now we are talking about structure. So story and structure normally it is actually representing the same thing. A story is like you are brainstorming the flow or direction of your article, and from there you will put it in a structured way where the story that you want to tell will be the structure of your paper. The flow just now you will transform it into a structure where you will start with the introduction, the abstract, the introduction, and so on. So the flow will be transformed in a structured format when you start to write it down. So 3 and 4 is actually related. 5 and 6 also is the elaboration of 3 and 4. So you have the story, you put it in a structured way, and then you will demonstrate it or write it in a form of sections and subsections. So have you identified related sections? So when you structured your draft, you will need to have headers or sections of each content or each story and sub stories. So have you identified related sections? So identify the related sections first and also the related subsections for the whole article, for your article. So once you have this in place, then only you can start with drafting your article. So literature review, in terms of number of paper that you have, is it enough to support your proposed title? And have you downloaded related articles and saved them in a document management tool like Mendeley? So this is again a part of the things that you need to check. Okay, so how do you know whether those article is enough for you to start drafting an article? It is normally by trying to answer what you want to know, right? So at the beginning, you have an objective. Okay, so your objective is to share something. So as the article that you have, um, can articles that you have provide the answer for your objective or for your question? So if you can remember, I keep telling you to have kind of standard keywords or standard words to direct you towards answering a question or achieving the objective. So if you are doing that, then you may be able to sense or identify whether the literatures are enough or not for you. Because you have the question, and then you will ask yourself, okay, can this article answer the question? If not, then you need to find more articles to answer those questions. All right. So it won't be enough. It never be enough. You will still need to find more and more, even though at the last stage of your writing, okay, producing that article, you may want to add something. You may want to strengthen the point that you have in your content in your article, so that so you need to find more articles. So it will keep on. It may keep increasing at the end as well. You still have to add on the number of articles that you need to read. Okay. And again, what is meant by enough? I was telling you about adding at the end. So at the end, when you try to finalize your draft, then you will do kind of reading. You will do a thorough reading, and then you will try to answer again the questions that you have initially earlier. So whether those content have answered the question that you have. So it is kind of not one-way process. It is repetitive process. You need to go again and again until you are happy with the answer that you provide for the questions that you yourself ask. Right? But if looking at the current number of papers that you have read, so it kind of not it is imbalance. Some of you, like I mentioned, still have 5. Some of you have 30 something. So it is not balanced at all. So to get a rough idea, like 36. Okay? So 36, the most maximum. 5 is the minimum for your group this time, and 36 is the highest. So 36, you may get an average. All right. So you may get an average, like 31 is the most. So 5 is very little, like 15, 16 is considered as, hopefully it is enough for your article. But again, you may need to ask yourself whether the question has been answered or not. If it's still not being answered, then you may add 15, 16 is not enough, you may add to it. Right? And even though you have 36, you have 40 articles read, at one point you may not need it. You may not need those articles, some of the articles. So in that process, you will eliminate it, and you may need to find more related and relevant article and add it into your list and kind of improve the draft that you have. Okay. So determine a section and subsections. We talk about structuring your draft. So common or main sections for an article in academic journal. So you have read several articles, at least 5, right? So looking at those articles or journal, you may find these are the common sections. So use this as your reference in structuring your draft. So you need a section of abstract, where abstract summarize from introduction to finding in short and compressed form. So abstract will normally be revisited more than once, and especially once you have completed everything, including your finding. So you will summarize it in a compressed form. So it will consist of everything from introduction until conclusion. Okay, what you find, what you conclude, you will put in abstract. So a good abstract is basically when you are ready about every sections that you have in a draft. If not, you won't be able to have a compressed form of abstract. So compressed form of abstract here means that in not more than 150 or 300 words, you will be able to tell people about every single important thing that you have in your article. You would, your reader, like you, when you start reading, you will start with abstract. So you need to you need to present everything important in these short sentences. So it need to be revisit um, many times so that you can have a compressed form of abstract. Right? So you have a section of abstract, you have a section of introduction that introduce the background, introduce the problem, and introduce the solution you propose. So introduction is about introducing things. Okay, so you want to introduce the background where we mentioned about the broad idea. So this is the place you will introduce the background, the broad idea, and then introduce among those broad ideas of background, what is the problem axis, right? In among the solution that has been introduced by existing authors, what are the solution? What are still lacking or what are still missing? So those will be introduced in the introduction section. And the sections in your article would be related work. So in introduction, you have introduced background, you have introduced the problem, and you have introduced the solution. Okay, existing solution, and also the solution that you would like to propose. So everything here need a backup. So in related work, it is actually elaboration of the work that you have introduced in section 2. So if you go back to the articles that you have read, you may find that the information that is introduced in introduction section will be there in related work. Right? So related work normally is an elaboration of the articles or the proof that you have introduced in introduction section. So in here, you need to identify similar approaches or approach that you may adapt and improve and related mechanism that may related to your proposed title. Okay. So in section 2, you have a solution that you would like to propose based on existing solutions. So most of the time, you may propose something uh, based on something. Okay, so not many cases that you are proposing a novel solution where the solution is nowhere. You don't have any existing solution. It is not common. Okay, so the common case or the common situation is you are proposing a solution where the proposal is coming from existing work. So you may want to elaborate, you may want to adapt something in, you may want to add something in. So related work will be a section that is elaborating everything that you use as a reference of your proposed solution. So in here, you will figure out what are similar to the existing work and how it relates to you. All right. So it's like elaboration. Like say in introduction, you have introduced a solution. In related work, what makes you choose that solution? Because the similarity that that solution have to my work. So you are stating and elaborating those work to support why your proposed solution is a good is possible or have potential. So section 3 is the related work. And what are other common main sections that you may have in your article? Number 4 is research method. So research method, this section may differs if you are writing a review paper versus you are writing a technical paper. So at this stage, I believe most of you are reviewing paper. You are trying to find the state of the art. You are trying to observe which techniques is possible. So you are like analyzing or reviewing people's work. So for review paper, normally we will identify methods used in previous and current work. And then we will try to figure out what are common among all those papers or all those work. Different from technical paper, where technical paper is normally is at the later stage where you already confirm on certain techniques or mechanism, and in there you will specify or details out on selected method or techniques. Okay. So you can see in review papers, you won't see any formulas, you won't see any solution, but you will see kind of analysis table, comparative table. But in technical paper is where you normally see in research method of that paper are the things that is very focused on the techniques. They may have calculation, they may have formulas, they may have techniques like the detailed algorithm that would be under the technical paper. So normally people will start with observing the state of the art, which is reviewing papers. Okay. So review papers is the stage where you want to identify what you actually want to do before you produce a technical paper at the later stage of your journey. Right. So technical paper normally, upon reviewing those papers, you have identified what is significant and what is very related to you. Then you will come up with a method or an algorithm, and that would be more technical. So that under research method for that technical paper, the things that you will see are the things that I mentioned just now. So you may expect two different things under this section of research method for review type of paper and technical papers. And number 5 is common main section, another main section, which is results and finding. So we talk about different type of papers in 4. So in 5, result and finding reflect number 4, where result and finding normally for review paper is state of art versus finding based on experiment or performance metric. Okay? So it is related. If you are producing a review paper or you want to observe the state of art that we mentioned, so it would be kind of state table, okay, consisting of analysis of certain variables commonly used, that kind of things. But for result and finding, for technical paper, normally it is finding that is talking or demonstrating the results from an experiment, and then normally will have a performance matrix. Okay, so based on performance matrix, what would be the value? What would be the finding? That is under the technical papers type of article. Right. So for the one that most of you did, result and findings, state of the arts, performance metric could be one of the outcome where we mentioned about the results and finding most probably would be in a form of a table, and there's no limitation on what columns do you need for that table. And it is possible to have performance matrix as one of the column in your analysis table of results and finding for a review paper. Okay, because you are observing things. So you want to observe the performance metrics that people use in order to identify certain things. So you may want to have a column for that. So paper A, they use performance metrics of latency and bandwidth, for example. So paper B, the performance metrics that they are using, that they use as latency and energy, for example. So what do you observe based on that column would be something like energy efficiency is commonly observed or commonly researched by many, but in terms of latency, there are still lack of research. So that would be example of result and finding that you can have based on performance metrics column in your analysis table. Number 6 is conclusion, another main section, and necessary sections that conclude how your finding have solved or fulfilled the objectives, right? So again, it depends on 4 and 5. What type of things that you want to share? What is the objective of your article? So you will conclude accordingly, and you will relate it to your objective just now. Whether you manage to solve it, whether you manage to observe something, like the one that we mentioned in terms of performance metrics, you observe, you conclude that more focus is on energy consumption, but less in terms of latency, example. Right? But in terms of number 4 and 5, related technical papers, maybe the conclusion will conclude based on the experiment results that you have observed or you have gained during your experiment. And number 7 is references. So references would be the list of papers that you use to support the whole story of your article, from introduction until the methodology. In result and finding, it is very seldom that we cite papers in there. Maybe you can cite papers like author A is assuming or have a hypothesis of something, then you may cite that author in results and finding. But most of the case, you may cite papers for introduction, related work, and research method. In result finding and conclusion, it is all yours. However, in conclusion, you may also have references, which is very uncommon. Let's say you conclude a statement or a finding or a statistic from somewhere, and you conclude that your conclusion do support the statistic or the finding of that statement. So that is possible, but it is not that common. In references, will list down the details of your resources or source of points, and they are based on the format that is determined by the publisher. So when you finalize your draft, then you may want to revisit the format, what type of format that the publisher wants. So if the publisher is looking for a certain style, then we need to follow the format that is specified by that publisher. But that is not a big issue in terms of citation and references, because you already know the features that Mendeley can provide you in assisting you in listing the references for your article. Okay. So the next one is an example. Okay, this is an example of the process that we have mentioned from slide number 2 until 6. So the example given to you today is on wireless sensor network. So this is just an example, but hopefully you may be able to link it to the idea or to your topic. So when you have the word of wireless sensor network, you have so many things to research on, right? So first, you may want to know what is the network about. So wireless sensor network, this is the common diagram that you may have that tells you about what WSN is. So in your case, you may need to have this diagram first, even though this diagram may not be needed in your article, but for your own purpose, you may need to start with this. So in WSN, you may have areas, sensing region. So in every sensing region, you will have many nodes, large number of nodes, right? And they will have a base station for each sensing region. So first, you may need to know what is the function of sensor node, how it senses things, and you may want to know what is base station and what is the function of base station. All right. So sensing or sensor node is sensing things. They are is actually a node that is constructed uh, from several type of senses. So they are sensing the condition, they are sensing the environment. So that is the purpose or function of a sensor node. So what's next? The sensor node will sense to the base station. So the problem here may arise in terms of energy consumption, in terms of network lifetime, and all those are related to the way how sensor node transmit data or sense information to the base station. So another thing that you may need to know in this environment is the sensor node has a restriction. They are very limited. They have a very limited sensing power, and they have a very limited lifetime, right? So they are normally battery powered. So once the battery is off, then the sensor node will not be able to sense anything. So when that is the situation or that is the environment of the sensing node, then you may have some idea how can I improve the wireless sensor network from the sensor node perspective, right? So being a sensor node, you may think that this sensor node can not do or process a lot of things. They can't process complex information. They can't store a lot of information. They can do simple tasks because they want to make sure that the battery that they have will last longer. So that are the requirement of a sensor node. And when we talk about that, we would like to link to how can we have what mechanism can we have to provide that capability to the sensor node. So maybe we need to have a mechanism for energy efficiency. Maybe we have to do something to increase the network lifetime of that sensor node. In terms of frequency, maybe you can the sensor node should send information less or when necessary. So that kind of thing that we have in mind. So that would be the thing that we logically have before we start. Right? And for transmission, in terms of transmission, what else can we do to help this wireless sensor network to perform or stay longer? In terms of transmission, maybe this sensor node have restriction. They can sense a certain area only, have a limited coverage. So what should we do? So maybe we should have more base station that is located nearer to the sensor nodes, right? So instead of having one base station in a sensing region, maybe you should have more than one, so that sensor node don't have to send or do not have to transmit data longer. They would involve many hops. So that is kind of a way to help this sensor node to perform better in wireless sensing network. What else can we do in terms of routing? So maybe this sensor node have several paths to transmit the data to the base station. So in terms of routing, we can help this sensor by providing the best or optimal routing path to this sensor node, because they don't know which route to choose. So maybe it is good for us to have a mechanism that allows them or determine that be able to determine the best route for this sensor node. So how is that possible? Some of the mechanism that we can think of is in terms of path selection. Maybe you are giving an option of the shortest one would be the best for this sensor node, or maybe you want to propose something which is more flexible. At one time, this would be the best route, but that best route is no longer best because the battery is depleted. So you are promoting another route for that sensor node. So that is mechanism that is also possible to improve this wireless sensor network. Mhm. So what are the things that are possible? So data aggregation, before we forward any information, we would like to aggregate the data first. So this could be possible in the base station, where base station would like to check first whether they need to send or forward all the information, or whether there are some information that is not important that they may leave out and just send whatever important information to the other base station. So filtering process may be relevant and helpful in this environment as well. So what are the things that I might have in mind when we talk about WSN? So we try to think of ways of improving this network, maybe clustering, group them together so that every region will have a small region that you can communicate among each other, rather than to just have one base station that we mentioned just now. But when we talk about clustering or grouping those centers in a group, in a region, you may have another issues of clustering, on how to cluster, what is the best method for clustering the nodes. So those are the things that will come up when we talk about WSN. And another thing that related to this WSN is in terms of environment itself, where we do know that WSN is deployed in harsh environment. Normally, it is deployed in harsh environment. And in fact, that would be the different why people go for WSN before it is meant for harsh environment. So when we talk about harsh environment, it means that the network is not easily accessible. All right, so it is not like, okay, battery is depleting, so I have to replace it. So it is not common in this type of network. So how can we help the node when we can't go there and recharge the battery, for example? So we need to think of that mechanism, how to help them to stay sustainable in that kind of situation. So another mechanism to do it as through self-organized. So those nodes need to be self-organized. So they need to know when to transmit, when to not to transmit, when to sleep. So those kind of thing is part of self-organization mechanism that are possible for this environment. So what we are saying here is you need to know your area or your domain and environment first before you start. So you have a broader picture where there are lots of issues and things to consider, to think of. Okay, so the situation just now is how can I improve WSN? It's just one question. But out of that, there are several other issues and challenges that relates to that WSN. So I can't improve in terms of energy consumption, network lifetime, and security at once. So I need to focus whether to focus on energy consumption, whether to focus on network lifetime, or maybe to focus on security. And there are also possible cases for you to combine more than one things that you would like to achieve. For example, you think that there will be a mechanism that can solve the issue of energy, and at the same time, it is good to increase the security aspect as well. So those mechanisms are the thing that you would like to propose. But you can only propose those if you have enough information about the existing work. All right. But these are the starting point of your work or your article. So determine what you want to observe, and that would be the objective of your article. So this is just an example. For you, you need to adapt it accordingly. And the next one is determine section and subsections. So you know what is related. You have choose one out of a lot of issues and challenges just now, and you have identify which one you want to choose, which objective you want to achieve. So upon selecting your direction, okay, which means choosing the objective, determine sections and subsections, focusing on your proposed title. So abstract introduction in the case of WSN just now, this is the same slide that we have before, but we are trying to focus on and on what is author of uses of WSN in general, consisting of energy, lifetime, security, and then there will be a paragraph that introduces the issue that you want to focus on. All right, so that would be could be 3 paragraphs that introduce you about your article. And then in terms of the section 3 related work, so for example, the author choose to observe existing methods on routing protocol in several applications. So let's say among all those issues that have been highlighted, you want to improve in terms of routing protocol, where you want to look at and observe what are existing routing protocol and what is still lacking in routing protocol for WSN. So let's say that would be your choice. So you will be looking at or elaborating more on routing protocol under this related work. So you can expect in related work, you have first in introduction, you have issues that you want to focus on, which is in terms of routing. So elaboration of that routing will be under related work. So under related work, in the related work, you have a paragraph that is talking about, okay, in routing protocol, current WSN routing protocol, it is classified in terms of ABC. So that would be one of the papers that you have read talking about routing protocol in general. And then you will have another paragraph that is talking about another related work. Let's say one of the classification in terms of clustering in routing, the cluster approach, routing protocol. So you may have another chapter that is talking about clustering approach in routing WSN. So there are several papers talking about clustering approach, and you will elaborate on that. And research method, because this is not a technical paper, we only want to know what are the existing approaches. So we will have under research method, we will identify methods used in previous and current work versus technical paper, specify or details on selected method or techniques. So in our example just now, we can assume that we may produce under this research method section a table consisting of several or many existing routing protocols, and we may come up with the parameters that we would like to observe. So what are the factors considered by routing A? What are the factors considered by routing B? Right? And among route clustering approach, how did they do it? Clustering approach, there are many algorithms. What are algorithms that they use for each of in those routing protocols? So you can imagine having that kind of table. So the table that you are producing is depending on what you want to observe. Alright. So in research and finding, state of art versus finding based on experiment or performance metric. So again, what you want to observe in for, you will put it in section 5 as a result, and your finding based on your collected and based on analysis on the table that you have generated. Then you will conclude, and again, references is the same. You need to follow the format. So now we will look at Mendeley, where the remaining part, which is sorting and classifying your article, is done in the Mendeley. So you have two options, Mendeley Desktop and Mendeley Reference Manager. So all of you have installed this. So Mendeley Desktop is the one I still maintain this Mendeley Desktop, where Mendeley Desktop will allow you to save everything in your local machine, and they are more flexible. So if you search for the differences between Mendeley Desktop and Reference Manager, many are still with Mendeley Desktop, especially if they installed it earlier than 2022. So they will skip that version because they are more user-friendly and more easy. However, if you are not able to install the Mendeley Desktop, you can opt for Mendeley Reference Manager. In fact, that is the only version available. They allow that. They are still having that version updated, but not the Mendeley Desktop. So Mendeley Reference Manager, you need to be online. You need internet because everything is saved in the cloud. So you can use, if you be able to install the Mendeley Desktop, you can also use that, right? So in Mendeley, that is where we do the sorting of literatures, and we will do the grouping and create folders and subfolders. So as of at this point, okay, slide number 2 until 9, you are expected to check on your own whether you have completed or whether you have done all the things in the checklist, and then only you can proceed to the sorting the literatures and group and create folders and subfolders. So you will start preparing your draft. Before we have a look again at this thing, I would like some of you to share your screen on a Mendeley that you currently have. All right. So let me. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Okay, let me stop this sharing, and I would like some of you to share your screen, your Mendeley screen as of today. All right. Can I have can I have
Saya tak tahu share screen kurang jelas sikit.
share your Mendeley screen? Can I? Yeah, Atira, you dah mention. Can you share yours?
Ya. Okay. Ini dah tu. Hmm. Sekejap saya tak jumpa macam ni nak keluar ke sini. Yes, saya nampak kan?
Okay, nampak.
Sekejap. Tengah loading ni. Oh, memang masa ni tu, saya rasa kalau untuk lain harus
Kalau share screen?
Sekejap. Share screen.
Mm-mm. Dekat sebelah kiri tu kan ada share screen.
Dah kan? Boleh nampak tu?
I only see your Mendeley Reference Manager and blank.
Saya tengah share screen. Nampak ni.
Ni share screen eh?
Saya tak tahu kenapa yang dia saya macam ni juga Selalu buka okey je.
Dekat screen awak pun hitam.
Haa.
Oh, cuba log out balik. Internet.
Balik, eh.
Dan-
Hmm. Yes. Saya tak tahu kenapa dia macam ni.
I think your Mendeley kena update dulu kot.
Sorry, I think yang mana dia apa?
Kena update. Tapi ada update yang kena install tu.
Oh, ya ke?
while Atira is trying to resolve that issue, maybe saya panggil yang lain dulu lah Atira.
Boleh doktor.
Nanti once you dah, you bagi tahu ya.
Aku doktor lain.
Alright, thank you. Okay, Atika Abbas, bolehkah you share yours?
Doktor, menjadi saya pun macam Atira, blank.
Jangkit pula.
Saya tak tahu kenapa.
Um, okay, what about Said?
Ya, sekejap. Okay, nampak ke?
Ya, nampak. Okay, so Said ada all references saja.
Ini are references. So untuk collection saya apa? Actually saya buat collection by subject taken this first semester lah. Cuma for this subject, for ITT795 saya dah kelaskan ikut topik lah. So since my article nanti will be something on cyber hygiene. So I have one collection on cyber hygiene. This is all the article, and then I think during lepas first progress itu you did mention to find the definition of cybersecurity and juga cyber hygiene. So this is the cybersecurity punya definition papers that related to cybersecurity punya definition, and this is definition on cyber hygiene. Yang definition for cyber hygiene ni nampak sikit because in cyber hygiene punya articles ni pun ada some article yang did mention some definition on cyber hygiene lah. So that's why I segregatekan macam tu lah. So in my progress table itu pun I ada note lah which article yang ada definition of cyber hygiene and cyber security sekali lah. Yang tu je lah. Ke ada apa-apa lagi doktor? What else to doktor? Hello? Dengar ke?
Dengar.
Okay.
Dengar saya ke?
Baru dengar.
Tadi saya stop dekat saya dengar you punya sampai you kata definition cyber hygiene sikit sebab there are definitions also in cyber hygiene punya folder kan? I dengar sampai situ je and then after that dia stop.
Faham. itu lah. Then just asking if there's anything else I need to share with you lah.
Mm-mm. All right. So definition that you have is not sikit, is okay. Kenapa saya dengar ada apa ya? Alright. Slide off dulu lah. Mute. Alright. Okay, so the definition that you have, I think it's appropriate because normally we don't really need too many definitions. It's just that based on your current finding, the definition, does it differs a lot between authors?
Ada some distinction lah, because ada yang look macam apa, some of the article tu dia very skewed to dia punya apa what we call that, sectors lah, because ada yang very broad, ada yang very skewed to sectors, like tak ada kat sini. Sekejap like ada satu artikel tu dia on ICS. So dia define the ICS, the cyber hygiene tu in ICS punya konteks. Yang others tu very broad lah, very broad, and ada yang very short, but ada yang panjang juga lah.
Alright. Okay. And then AI intelligence, artificial intelligence, what does it relate to? How does it relate to?
No, actually this is apa for the yang industry report itu, Doctor. So I just masukkan kat sini.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Said. All right, you may. So, do you want to share with us, or you still have problem, Atira? Okay, sekejap ya. Okay, let me share. The one that your friend is sharing is good, but maybe you can have a look at this, and then you may want to apa, restructure back the folders that you have. So I am sharing with you the Mendeley reference manager that I have. So if you look at this, it is under all the references. There are a number of articles, and there is no there is no classification for those articles. Okay, so there are so many references there. And under collection, there are several collections as well. So there are a lot here because the Mendeley reference manager is synced with my old Mendeley account. So everything is still here. So for ITT 795, I created a folder, example for ITT 795, right? So please have a look at these folders only, where it include example for IT 795 and it ends until research methodology. Okay, so the rest of the folders are mine and it is not for ITT 795. So for example for ITT 795, this is just a folder, and I try to create folders that is reflecting the draft that I will do for my article. So I put introduction here and then related work. And under related work, I created several sections, or sections is equivalent to the folder's name. So it would be easier for you to know for your article, which for your draw which article is related to those sections. So I put it routing protocol would be one of the sections. And under routing protocol, I have subsections of aggregation, and then I have a subsection of clustering. I have a subsection of schedule based and self-organized. So if you look at these four under routing protocol, these are the mechanism that you can have in order to improve the routing in WSN, the example that I gave. So what is expected next for this example is under aggregation, I will choose from my all references just now, I will choose appropriate papers and put it under aggregation. So when I talk about aggregation subsection later, I will just refer to those papers under these aggregation sections. And under clustering as well, I will need to go to all references and choose among those lists what are the papers that is related to clustering, and I will need to move or copy that to these clustering sections. And I will do the same for schedule based and self-organization. So in here, everything is still empty because I did not move anything yet. But I'm sure it is very user friendly. You know how to move from all references to appropriate section that you have created. All right. So this is what I have. So example, let's say in introduction, right? So introduction from all references. So there are several papers here. So let's say you are looking for something that you can use in introduction. You would like to introduce a wireless sensor network. So I can choose this paper and then put it in introduction. So is there any other paper that is useful to introduce WSN? So this might be another one. Ini tadi 2023 introduction. Okay. So introduction. Satu lagi mana? Okay, so just imagine that everything has been located at its appropriate folders or sections. So this might not be this. And USN. Maybe I should take from here. Okay, organize. So you can choose from any collection. So 2023 introduction. Okay, it's not. I'm not sure why it's not. Yeah. Okay, any. So let's say okay, this is the one apa yang keluar, but this is not the appropriate journal. But let's say I have something here that I would like to put in my introduction. So I will look at census classification, for example. This is not the good one. Okay, just imagine that this paper is already in my introduction section. Okay. Okay. So in here it stated about WSN. So WSN, wireless sensor network. Wireless network are broadly divided into infrastructure and infrastructureless structureless network. Wire infrastructure network consists of wireless node. Okay, so these are telling about the construction of WSN. And then here, WSN consists with 100 wireless nodes distributed with geographical area. So if you look at the example in our slide just now, we have illustrated a diagram of WSN component consisting of large number of sensors and base station, and you may need to connect to internet if you want to have a remote control mechanism and you have a sensing area. So I think this is one of points that can define what WSN is. Right? So after highlighted that, okay, let's say I want to highlight this. Okay, I want to highlight this. Um, and then at the same time, I want to copy this point. Okay. So if you look at tools here, you have install Mendeley site for Microsoft Word, install Mendeley Web Editor, and search for online. And under edit, you have copy, paste options. So once I have identified the point and I want to put in introduction, I will link to my Word document. Okay, so in my Word document, I have put the structure put the sections as in my Mendeley. So I have introduction, related work, and so on. So the point that I highlighted just now should come under here. I would say this is one of the things if we use Mendeley Reference Manager, because they are cloud-based. So sometimes you have difficulty in copy and even paste it. But if you are using the desktop, you won't have this problem because it is locally. So I have this problem even before to copy and paste it to Word. It happens again, right? So so basically, you should be able to copy Control C and then paste it in Words, right? Check. Okay. So in desktop, you have this option. Let me share you in Mendeley desktop, the same file. Mendeley desktop on it. So Mendeley desktop, you have highlighted that one, and then you can copy. You have options of copy. It's supposed to be there in reference as well. You can choose Control C, but sometimes it is not working. So Mendeley desktop, you won't have that problem. So what I'm saying now is I copy that point and then I want to put it under the introduction of my document. So I copy that here. And again, I should rephrase this. We are not proposing or promoting copy and paste of points here, but this is the beginning stage of writing a draft. You can start by doing this. So the point is here. So you need to mention the source of this information. So if you have add the feature of word in Mendeley just now, it should appear at ins here. So under add in, Mendeley site, and then it will list all the references that you have in your collection. So for this one, the title just now is Wireless as a Network Architectural Design Issues. Okay. Wireless. Okay. So let's say this is the paper, and then you insert the citation here. So it will come out the name of the author, the year. So in here, citation setting, this is APA format, but you can change the citation style. So if you remember just now, when we talk about references, it is depending on the format that the publisher wants you to do or to have. So you can change the style accordingly by choosing the format here, right? So once you have done this, there are many other steps that you have to do, because you just cannot copy and paste things. All right. So let's say you go back to your Mendeley and there are other papers that is describing the component of WSN, then you can put it under introduction as well. So for one statement, for telling or informing the WSN itself, the component of WSN, you may have more than one paper. So once you have combined all those 3 papers point for this paragraph, then you would like to have your own word in telling the component of WSN is consisting of what, and that is cited and mention the citation for those 3 authors here. All right. So what you will do today is basically to construct a draft, okay, to have a draft of your article and get the point from the references. So you will repeat the same step for other things, related work and so on. So what you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are the sections that I would like to have for my draft. So I put it like that in this document. And also in the folder, I put it accordingly so that I can retrieve the information accordingly to the sections that I have created. So it would be much easier for us to identify or track back which points are related to which sections. All right. So for your case, you may need to look at the checklist that given to you just now, where start with a title, whether you have identified the title for your work or for your paper, and then come up with this main or comment sections. And you may have different things in terms of related work number 3. Okay. So yours would not be routing data aggregation and so on. It would be something that is supporting your proposed topic. Right? So put the content accordingly, and do need to put the authors, the citation or references and later you will need to go back and refine and rephrase and also uh, redo everything. I mean, in terms of the structure of the sentence, you may need to use different words, okay? Because you can't copy and compile. You need to compile and put it in your own observation and on your in your own word, right? That would be another phase of your draft. But for now, these are the things that you need. So looking at current status or current progress of everyone, some of you are ready to do this because you already identified the story of your article. But some of you, I do see that there are a lot of things that you need to work on, especially you haven't identified the common point. You don't have a standard keywords to reflect the answers that you would like to have in answering the question that you have stated in your paper or in your apa tu progress tu, right? So for those yang dah ada this kind of sections and so on that identify, then you may need to proceed and improve and start doing this. For those yang have a very minimal progress, you do need to improve a lot, right? Because there are marks for progress, there are marks for the article itself. So progress need to be completed, then only you will be able to produce a draft based on the progress that you have constructed. All right. So I think I have shown you what you need to do next in order to draft your article. What would be your next step in producing that article, right? So if you look at here, there's no way for you to proceed to draft the article if you don't have enough resources. Okay, so based on individual progress, you have to check back on your current status. Mana yang very lacking tu, you have to work more, work harder for it. All right. I think I'm sorry because there are some things that is not smooth, especially in showing you the class, the Mendeley reference just now in copy and paste. But that are the things that you may experience when you work with Mendeley reference version. All right. But hopefully you managed to capture what I'm trying to share with you in terms of what the next step for you to proceed with. Okay. All right. So do you have any question?
No, Dr. Sami.
Doktor,
Yeah.
if my article punya apa tu? Punya content tak sepenuhnya daripada papers, macam saya ada buat interview ke, boleh ke saya selectkan sekali?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hmm.
Saya tanya
Interview.
orang.
Kalau interview as a reference, dalam reference it won't come up sebagai apa publication lah kan, paper to refer. But in your content, you may have a kind of a paragraph that mention something like based on interview conducted to a number of people, let's say 20 people from upper industry. So you may have that kind of paragraph, but it won't appear as one of the references in your article.
Okay, thank you, Doktor.
Alright, so. Alright, if you don't have any question, please, you have another one slot for webinar. Hopefully, it suits any one of you. If not all, some might be benefit. Some might benefit from that session. We will have that on 15, if I'm not mistaken, 15th of December. All right. I think you have a lot of things to do. You also have to answer the question after listening to the recording, right? Um, just keep moving, and yeah, there's no other way. All right. So I think for that, I would like to end today's session. If you don't have any
Doktor, saya
question,
ada satu question.
uh,
Okay, Doctor. Just now you show in the Mendeley, on how you organize your paper and so on. Let's say for the introduction, you show you cite from one paper. Okay, is it possible for the same paper will be used for in another chapter, such as uh, the paper you use in introduction and also used in related work and research method,
yeah.
or it cannot be like that for introduction for just only one paper?
It can. It can appear more than once, but it is recommended not to use the same paper for so many points in your papers. Okay. There are some students who did have like 5 references, and they keep on reuse the 5 references throughout the whole papers. Um, Maybe that paper have the information that you would like to have in methodology. You would like to have that paper also in introduction. It's okay, but not that is not the only paper. I mean, if let's say that reference appear in methodology and introduction, so there should be other papers as well in the methodology in the same paragraph. It means that you are not referring to only a very limited number of papers. But your question, whether it can appear in more than one sections, yes, it can.
Okay, one more question, Doctor.
Uh-huh.
Regarding yesterday's session,
Yeah.
about the data mining and process mining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Actually, just want to inform you that both topic is something new for me, but I think it's something interesting because in both session, the presenter provide us with the OSIN tools that can be used maybe for let's say for my future work or for my future paper. Okay. For the Dr. Angelina session, if I'm not mistaken, if you uh, notice that I asked in the last session, I asked Dr. Angelina about the use of these code tools for let's say for my investigation, and she said yes, I can use it. So can I get the contact of Dr. Angelina, because I didn't notice she provide, or she said she share her contact in the slide.
Yeah. Sure, boleh. Bagus tu. Adli, sebab it is not only for your apa tu, for your certain course saja kan, you might apply it later, you want to apply it in even in your real environment or in your real workplace pun. So yes, I think Dr. Angelina pun dia kata she is willing to accept any questions, and she will answer the questions kan. So you want the contact number, is it?
Maybe contact number or her email is also okay. So I can
Email.
just wrote her an email.
Yeah, I think our email would be better. I
Okay,
will
thank you, Doctor.
get the email for you. Yes, it is something that is not necessarily come from the solution, that not necessarily come from your existing domain or expert, right?
Yep.
So, uh, okay, I'll send to you once I have it. Semalam I pun tak copy, tapi I can get that.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Right, thank you, Adli. All right.
Doktor, saya maybe saya tak tersempat dengar tadi. Last Santra due date untuk draft ni bila? Untuk artikel ni?
Artikel ya. Okay. Kita bulan minggu depan you will be physical kah?
Start esok actually.
Tak esok for certain course ya.
Betul. Tapi
So
start next week.
everyone will come down to Shah Alam. Semua dari harian dari Sabah kan, dari Perak semua. Semua akan turun.
Saya tak boleh cakap lah diorang turun ke tak, tapi saya rasa dah kena turun dah.
Dah turun dah. Ada siapa dari Sabah itu?
Aliza.
Ariza dah dekat KL dah.
So next week you will come back to KL or you will be here for 2 weeks? Alisa tak ada.
Tak silap saya Aliza dah ada rumah dekat KL dengan parents dia. So dia ulang alik lah kot.
Oh, okay. Alright. You buat saya belum upload lagi. Saya nak upload apa? Saya belum dah upload instruction kan, tapi saya dah elaborate on what you should do next. So please progress accordingly, and the submission would be not in 1-2 weeks lah. It would be mungkin dalam minggu selepas kita jumpa, update progress. Mungkin dalam minggu depan is 9 kan, dalam minggu ke 11 ataupun 12, and then you will have another round for final draft, and then only you will submit. So untuk yang case ni minggu ke 11. Okay ke Zul?
Sekarang minggu ke-9 kan?
Sekarang minggu ke-9. Sekarang minggu ke-8. Hari ni minggu ke-8. Next week is minggu ke-9.
This week minggu 9 tak?
Minggu 9 betul?
Oh, minggu ni minggu 9 dah ya? Saya
ya.
terlepas satu. Okay, minggu 9. Next week is minggu ke-10. Minggu ke-11 lah. Senyap je.
So progress 3 minggu 11 lah.
Progress 3 is actually your draft.
Ya. So saya buat table macam itulah, dah terus buat draft lah.
Terus buat draft. Cumanya kalau yang ada baru berapa artikel tu macam mana you nak produce a draft kan? So you kena improve accordingly lah. Minggu yang ketiga is not submission of table, it is submission of draft, which is minggu ke-11. Boleh ke? Faham?
Faham doktor?
Faham.
Minta maaf doktor sebab saya kena tukar tajuk kejap. Before ni saya buat mobile forensik kan. Saya buat ke arah AI forensik. So kena tajuk lain sikit, kena cari yang target lain sikit, so lambat sikit lah. Kena membaca balik daripada awal.
Tapi apa yang you dah baca tu bukan tak pakai langsung kan? It would be more general and then you are focusing more detail. Betul kan?
Ada benda yang saya boleh selectkan lah. Saya boleh side sikit daripada yang paper lama tu.
Right, I think itu saja kot ya.
Doctor,
Yeah.
I have one question. So the recording for the first speaker, if I'm not mistaken, you just provided us by this Thursday, right? Right. But I understand the submission for the first speaker was long dated back before this. So some of us wasn't able to attend the speaker, wasn't able to hear the speaker. So is it possible for us to listen first to the speaker and then maybe submit the evidence, even though the date has been like long way back?
Yeah. So for speaker, the last the last session would be on 15th of December. So I am expecting the submission related to all the webinars would be after that. That would be 15 kan? So speaker 1, 2, 3, 4, you can compile. The submission would be after the last webinar session, which is 15. 15 tu ada last webinar. It is on Friday. So it is on Friday. So on 23rd tu dia boleh submit untuk webinar.
Maksud doktor semua sekali ke?
Hantar sekali semua. So siapa yang nak improvise pun boleh. Siapa yang belum buat, you boleh listen during that time. Sebelum 23 bulan 12 tu submit semua webinar sekali.
Okay, baik doktor. Terima kasih.
Okay, terima kasih. So yang mana recording yang belum dapat tu, once I get it, I will let you know. Right? Okay. So that's all, is it?
Doktor, kejap. Ada confusion sikit. Maksudnya for each session webinar, we need to send a written report like the first one?
But it's not written report. It's kind of like the first one you have a few questions, kan? Set of question. Betul.
For the first session sebelum ni, industrial sharing, kami kena buat written report tu kan yang kami dah hantar tu, Dr. Murad tu. So for the second session, for the Wika, dia ada online exercise tu, kami kena complete kan?
Oh, yang online tu is lecturer tu yang bagi. It's not that one. It is, it will come from me. Dia adalah a little bit that relates LR dengan apa yang speaker tu cakap. But I haven't upload that instruction as well.
Oh, belum lagi lah. Alright. Saya ingatkan benda yang sama. Alright.
Itu untuk your own practice.
Okay, terima kasih doktor.
Okay, so okay ke semua? Kalau okay, saya nak check attendance. Jawab ada ya? Aliza? Aliza tak jawab. Khairul Syazana? Khairul Syazana tak ada.
Syazana tak ada.
Syazana masih lagi dengan ni kan? She is and she enrolled for ITT795.
Betul.
About other class, did she come?
Kamu not sure. Tapi Aliza ada tu doktor.
Aliza ada, I nampak tadi. Oh, Syazana, you person. Alright, Muhammad Akmal.
Ada doktor.
Nak dengar suara je ni. Muhammad Faiz.
Ada doktor.
Alright, Nafan. Abang dah tak ada kan? I mean, dia dah...
Tak ada.
Yes, dia dah drop.
Dah drop.
Nur Akmal ada, Nur Adli ada, Nur Atika. Nur Atika tak ada. Atika Abbas ada nampak nama. Alright, Nur Fatiha. Fatiha nampak nama. Alright, Nur Hafiza. Hafiza. Alright. Iqbal.
Ada doktor.
Iqbal, Syed, ada lagi kan?
Ada.
Wan Alfa.
Ada doktor.
Alright. Hairi.
Ada doktor.
Alright. Nur Izwan.
Ada doktor.
Okay. Arif Aiman.
Ya, saya doktor.
Nur Bila Iza.
Ada doktor.
Samir.
Ada.
Alright. Fadli.
Ada doktor.
Okay. Nur Atira.
Ada doktor.
Alright. Okay, kawan you hari tu yang masuk ward. Okay dah?
Dah okey dah doktor.
Okay, so semua okay ke? Macam hari tu kata doktor tengah check kan? So sebenarnya kenapa? If you don't mind sharing lah.
Setakat ni yang doktor biasa kata mungkin ni suspect hyperventilation.
Aspek apa? High ventilation.
Hyperventilation.
Hyper.
Dia cure lah, tak adalah nak kena ulang balik semula datang kan?
Setakat ni saya punya appointment dengan pakar tahun depan bulan 1, hujung bulan 1.
Dia akan keep on datang kalau terlampau macam perasaan terlampau, macam terlampau gembira, terlampau sedih, terlampau stres, macam tu lah.
You have that experience, Atira.
Yes.
Are you okay now, Atira?
Setakat ni okey, Alhamdulillah.
Kena control lah emosi kan?
Betul.
Okay, Faiz dengar tu.
Dengar doktor, dengar.
Alright. Okay, thank you very much. I think I have checked your attendance and insyaAllah kalau tak ada apa kita jumpa next week lah kan?
Betul, doktor. Kita jumpa next week.
Jumpa kat mana doktor?
Kat mana saya pun tak tahu. Bilik mana yang dia bagi. Nanti saya inform semula.
Okey doktor.
Alright. Thank you very much. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you,
Terima kasih,
doktor.
doktor.
Alright.
Doktor.